Hi everyone, Keith Arkenberg Farms. We are approaching the end of our main season. It's now the first week of September. I just want to kind of walk you around, kind of show you what the farm's looking like this time of year, kind of what to expect when you're doing this on your own. It varies from area to area, but this is kind of the way it ends up at the end of the season because you've just been working your butt off all damn season long. And now it's time to start tearing down, getting ready for winter crops, like underneath this fabric here, and I'll explain why it's underneath there, and getting things sealed up and going into winter. So let me show you. Now, our tomato house has just been doing awesome this year. I mean, they're up to the rafters. Come back down. Usually this time of year, well, actually about a month ahead of time, I really stop actually trimming them because there's really no added advantage to doing it. The only added advantage would be easier to harvest and they'd be lower. But this time of year, our farmer's market really slows down. So I just need crop out of here until in about a month and a half from now, it's going to freeze and these are going to be dead anyways. Their production levels have dropped dramatically because it's getting cooler out. They've burned up all they can. You can see I'm starting to get some purpling going on there. So they've done their life cycle. They do what they're going to do. I only plant one planting of them in a year because that's all we can really stand with our market that we have around here. And why grow more than you need to? You grow more than you need to, you waste time harvesting it, and you don't sell it, then you lose money. Here's our peppers. Did these trellised up. Works great, but I only need to trellis them so far and then let them go. Might be the variety of pepper I'm growing, I'm not sure. But the great thing is when you trellis them up, you harvest them at like hand level. You don't have to go below. The one plant that does the best with a trellising method are the eggplants here behind me. Get through all these strings here. I mean, these things are almost 6 foot tall. They're pumping eggplants just beautifully. I just harvested earlier today, so there's not any really nice ones on there. But I'm getting these little aninas. They're a fairy tale type, and they're good 8 inches long. I don't think they're supposed to get that big if I remember right. I've got one plant over here right behind me that's actually taller than I am. I get the camera up. It's almost 7 foot tall and it works great for that. Had some issues in here with overwatering down at the end because I'm running off my tomato row, but I've kind of gotten that solved. More on that next season, but we'll get to that next season. Now into the cucumber house. These cucumbers actually rocked this season. They were just phenomenal. Here's a little variant I found in here. If you ever find these guys, got that distinctive little blossom spot on the end. These things are delicious. These are the best cucumbers I've ever had. Super sweet, super small. I wish I could find them. I don't think I can because these are all Market More 97s. They are almost invincible until apparently, like you see now, they're not. About last week they started going down. Week later, I mean, they're going down all over the place. That's the first succession. We've got the second succession down here. We've got spotty little bits here and there. And I know why this happens. These guys are almost invisible to cucumber beetles, but every year I plant a planting of pickling cucumbers out in the field that are not. They draw them in when the pickling cucumbers go down because they only last, you know, probably 4 or 5 weeks of production. All those cucumber beetles come over and have fun, which I've still got some that are actually still kicking pretty good, looking pretty nice. I'm going to try to save some seeds off those this year and kind of see what happens. The 97s are developed by university and they are open pollination, so you can save your seeds with them, and they bred them to be like almost indestructible. I think they just keep taking the ones that don't die every year and just keep spreading the lineage. So we'll go out in the field, talk about that. So there really ain't too much going on over here in block 6. This is usually my greens area where I work potatoes and then greens and work my way across the field. This year, I made it halfway. Didn't even have a chance to plant in this. The grass really started to go crazy on me. I started mowing it, which actually worked great. And then as you can see around me, it's all broken up. I actually came in here with a 5-foot disc. It's got scallop disc on it, just a single gang. There's one this way and then one this way. So it kind of mounds up. And I just came through here, broke it, just trying to get the grass up, get this field reset, ready for next year. I do have a nice little bit of lettuce actually going again, which we're only planting what we can sell at the market. So I'm planting 100 cell flat each week, working my way down. We were at 2 weeks, moved down to 1 week this time of year because they go quicker. The one surprise I got was first time ever, came out to harvest this section of the bed, and I'd taken off my shade cloth because it was starting to cool down. And when I did that, allowed the deer to come in. I've never had deer actually do major damage. I've had a little, like a bite here, a bite here, a bite here. This whole thing was from here to here to be harvested. It was mowed clean, like nothing left, just completely gone. So that's put us out of lettuce for 2 weeks. First time, 9 years, that I've not had lettuce for 2 weeks straight. I've had 1 week periods here and there, but never 2 weeks. But in another week, that'll be ready to harvest. We'll be ready to get it up and going again. It's cooling down out here. I won't be planting out here anymore. All the lettuce is now planting over there. Now all the lettuce is planted inside the insect net. And this year, for my fall, winter / lettuce, and the stuff that's gonna be going over winter, I'm not putting landscape fabric down because I'm trying to eliminate the bottom rot I've had for the past, well, basically every winter. So I figure if there's less ways to trap the moisture down at the bottom, then there's less chance of having it. I also increase the spacing. So you can see I've got 3 rows in here, 12 inches in row, and then they are about 10 inches in between each row, staggered all the way down this bed. Now, I had to do the insect net in here specifically because I had a bunch of little grasshoppers and crickets and stuff come in here. They've literally been decimating everything that I direct seed in here. I'll turn you around, kind of show you what they're doing. So here's my overwintered brassica stuff. You can see completely skeletonized plant in there. They've just been hammering it even underneath the insect net alone. There they are right there. See if we can get a shot of them. Those little guys. Those are what I'm dealing with. They're little tiny grasshoppers. They're about 1/4 inch wide. See it jump? They're the problem. There's also little short grasshoppers that are only 1/4 inch long. Got a little bit of harlequin beetle pressure. They like to chew through the insect net itself, but they're not horrible this year. Biggest problem is this was direct seed lettuce. So you can see, there ain't much lettuce in there. Had army worms come in and those little jumpers and crickets. And they pretty much have mowed this down the last 3 plantings. I do finally look like I've got some radishes starting to form in there, but these little things are literally everywhere inside of here. So I had to net everything. Even down here at the end, whole plant's completely skeletonized. All but gone. As you can see, this is my fall / winter. This will be gone. I've got a bed of carrots behind me that I'm working on harvesting out. 1 bed of lettuce. That's going to be a bed of spinach, has not popped up yet, and the rest of this is going to be lettuce and then garlic on the end. That is my winter plan this year. I have pretty much come to the conclusion, or the conclusion came to me, that I can grow through the winter. I'm really good at it. But the biggest problem we have is we don't have the sales to really back that up. We use a very key metric here on the farm, and that is the amount of income that you bring into the farm for every hour that you work on the farm. Now, if I'm over there uncovering and covering that every single day, all throughout the winter, that's wasting a lot of time for a little bit that might or might not sell. So this year I'm going to kind of draw back, working on stuff around here, work on the farm instead of work on the farm, like clearing all that out, getting some new gravel down, taking down this caterpillar tunnel so I can clear all the weeds that have built up through it. Currently working on getting the plastic mulch up over here, which isn't bad because I got a attachment that kind of lifts stuff up so I can put on the bigger tractor, but you can see it kind of makes a mess. I mean, it's to be expected. That's one of the biggest downfalls with using plastic mulch, is that when it goes like that, because you can't spray stuff like you do in conventional agriculture, it's more of a pain in the butt to clean up because you got to pick up every little tiny piece of it. I don't want to leave a single speck of this in the field because I don't like it. I've seen farms like that where they just go through and they get what they get and they till the rest, and there'll be this little white and black plastic stuff like that big just spread all the way across their farm, because then it blows over into the areas, blows into the grass areas, the driveways, everything. It just looks horrible. And I don't want to have a farm that looks like that. But pretty much out here, everything's basically done. Like I said, I'm working on cleaning it up. Had a great season with the cantaloupes over here. We got our Arkenberg heirloom cantaloupes, got from a relative down in Kentucky. Beautiful, little round, about 7-inch across cantaloupes, perfectly modeled, no ribs, super sweet. Everybody loves them. Gonna keep doing those for a couple years on. I do have some pepper plants over here. It's one thing I picked up this year was a specialty grow specifically for one buyer. He provided me the plants. I put them in the ground. I harvest them every week and sell them to him, which not too horrible. It works. It is bringing in money to the farm. And this year, because I really dialed in on going back to the traditional aspects of being a market gardener and actually just growing for market, we've actually taken our hours, our income earned per hour, and doubled it this year. This is the most important number you ever need on a small farm. You know how many hours you work, including yourself, and then you take your total income that you earned that week and divide it by the hours that you spent doing it. That should come in hopefully anywhere between $20 and $30. That determines the rate you can pay yourself minus what you have to pay to keep your farm up and going. So very, very important. If you can increase that number like we did by 50% just simply by cutting out a CSA and only growing stuff we know we're selling and growing stuff that people buy at the farmer's market, and then we don't have waste because we didn't plant too much, then that is the key to keeping these types of farms successful. So that was a lot, but not a lot. You see, I got a mess to clean up. I'm working on it. That one down there looks nice, so at least I've accomplished something. But as always, hope y'all liked my Saturday. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, keep farming, have a good day.